Hey everyone, welcome to another review, and here is my review for the final Daniel Craig James Bond movie, No Time to Die. This movie stars Daniel Craig, Ana de Armas, Remy Malek, Lashana Lynch, Ray Fiennes, Naomi Harris, and Jeffrey Wright. And this, how about before I talk about this movie, No Time to Die, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff I've talked about in the past about this movie. I made two videos about this movie before it came out because of rumors and speculation of what this movie was going to be about. And I was very annoyed about the news they were bringing out and stuff. And I didn't say the movie was going to be bad. I just said if all these rumors are true, that sounds like a pretty lame Bond film, and just didn't get me excited for No Time to Die. Uh, yeah, so one of the rumors was not true, about like James Bond being like just dominated by women and he's like a side character and it's mostly Lashana Lynch's story. That's not the case. That was a false rumor. And Lashana Lynch does play a 007 in the movie, but she really doesn't steal the thunder of James Bond. She actually works with James Bond in the film, and there's no like dominating force, and she's not even really that big of a character in the film. And yeah, there's no like emasculating James Bond in this movie, which is what a lot of rumors were saying that the movie's going to do. So either they reshot the film, or those were just speculations that didn't come to pass. And I'm glad. I'm very glad those are false rumors because I was very worried. I thought this movie was going to be this really lame James Bond movie where James Bond is just basically a wimp the whole movie. James Bond is one of the most badass characters in all of cinema. James Bond has existed since, what, 1962? He is an iconic character. And we don't want to see him become a bitch in his own movie. Like, no one wants to see that shit. So, this movie is the final installment of the Daniel Craig Bond films, and let's just say he's had a rocky James Bond filmography because half of his movies were good, half of them sucked. Skyfall and Casino Royale are great films, and Spectre is shit, and Quantum of Solace is a boring fucking film. This one I was hoping it was gonna go just like do the Star Trek, but opposite because like when it comes to Star Trek movies, like the even number ones are good movies and the odd numbers are usually the bad movies. But when it comes to the Daniel Craig Bond films, the odd numbered Bond films are the better ones. um, this movie, No Time to Die. The story of it is James Bond is retired and he's called in for another final mission because of a kidnapping. And there's like this arms dealer who's doing the kidnappings. His name is Safin, played by Rami Malek, and he has like secrets that people don't want it to be released to the world and everything. And James Bond, he's not James Bond anymore. He's old and he's retired, but he has to be called back in, and he has to work with a new team and a new 007 and stop Rami Malek's villain character. Basically, a typical James Bond story. James Bond fights terrorist or arms dealer or whatever. James Bond versus bad guy. And you don't watch the James Bond movies for like these amazing gripping stories. You watch it for the enjoyable characters and badass action sequences. And this movie does deliver on quite a few of those. Yeah, the action in this movie is very good. The movie was directed by Cary Fukunaga, who did all the episodes of True Detective for season one. Very good filmmaker, and he does a good job. It is a very well directed, very well structured film. There are some really cool sequences, really great set pieces. There's a fantastic action scene where he's like going up a spiral staircase. Really fucking cool. The opening is really strong as well. So yeah, even the climax has a pretty cool, awesome scene. And yeah, so the action was good. Like, I didn't have any issues with any of the action sequences. Daniel Craig is also old, but he is good in the film, and he does, you know, he still got, he doesn't quite have that charm like he did in Casino Royale, but he's still a good Bond, and he still gives a good performance. So props to him. Everyone else was just fine. Ray Fiennes was always just fine in these movies as M. Ana de Armas is a new character. She's okay. She's fine. Rami Malek as a villain, he's definitely not like one of the stronger villains. I love Le Chiffre from Casino Royale. Mads Mikkelsen's great. He's not as good as Javier Bardem's villain either, but he's definitely a step up from Blofeld from Spectre, Crystal Waltz's character, who does show up in this movie. I mean, yeah, awesome. He's good. Rami Malek is a fine villain. He has a decent motivation. I do like how his story ends and how they get rid of him in this movie. It's very, very enjoyable. But yeah, he's definitely kind of like one of those middle tier Bond villains. He's not quite like a Le Chiffre or a Goldfinger or the 006 or anything. Like, he's not quite as good as those. But he's fine. He's fine. There are moments in this movie that drag. This movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes. It is the longest Bond film. And it does feel its length. Like, that is the number one issue with this movie. It is fucking long. And oh my god, does it feel long. It does not feel, it doesn't scoot by. Like, shit, I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is like almost like a 3 hour film. And that movie barely has any action. I didn't feel that length, but for some reason this one, I felt that length, man. Just like, basically because the story isn't as gripping as other Bond films, and just maybe some of the scenarios that were happening just weren't as interesting, and the conversations weren't as compelling as other Bond films. Just, I don't know, I felt the length in this movie. And it does dwindle it a bit, and there are things in this movie that are very more modern because we live in 2021 and like we have to be more progressive and everything. So you don't get a lot of Bond hitting on chicks in this movie like he does in all the other Bond films, because that's not PC. So there's even a scene where he kind of hits on Ana de Armas, but like she puts it into that. Oh no, you can't do that. So I'm like, that was probably the only scene in the movie I kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, okay, here we go. That's it. I really thought there was gonna be more cringeworthy scenes like that in the film, but no, just the one. And honestly, one is better than 100, so that's good. It was a stupid scene, but I'm glad it's just one. Yeah, I guess my only like nitpicks with this movie is that it just drags a lot, and there's a lot of boring elements in the film, and I don't know, just the ending is like how they end James Bond's kind of story and like his legacy. It's actually pretty good, and just I think they did a good job with this movie. As a Bond film, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. As an action film, it does work. There is some really great action sequences throughout the entire film. For me, I just thought it was just pretty good. Like, it's not like a Spectre where it's just dog shit and just stupidest thing and just a really boring fucking film. But it's not nowhere near on the levels like a Skyfall or Casino Royale. It's just it's good. It's pretty good. I definitely recommend it for the Bond fans out there, but this movie will not make you a Bond fan. That's for fucking damn certain. So I enjoyed it. It's definitely not a Bond film I would be rewatching very much. Maybe if I did a Bond marathon, sure, but definitely not a Bond film I just watch on its own. No way. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give No Time to Die a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. Check it out. So yeah, that was my review for the movie No Time to Die. So in the comment section below, please tell me, what is your favorite Daniel Craig Bond film? Mine will always be Casino Royale, but what is yours? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and join the dark side.